Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. Yesterday was my sister's wedding, and because of me, it turned into a complete disaster. I know my sister has been planning for this day all her life. I've seen the folder she started keeping when she turned 15 that held all the cuttings from magazines or newspapers and printed articles from online sites relating to the wedding preparations. I always found her obsession with having a perfect wedding a little irritating, but as time went on, I came to endear her for it. She didn't only plan her dream wedding, but she made it her motivation in life. Her words, whenever she aimed for something in her professional life, were, "This will help me pay for my wedding." And then she'd do whatever it took to make sure her dreams came true. So to say that I knew how much it meant to her would be an understatement. And thanks to a bunch of family members and my idiotic self that likes to brag her wedding was ruined. So I couldn't decide for a long time on what I should give her as a wedding present. She's my only sister, and I wanted it to be a perfect gift that would add on to the happiest day of her life. But no matter how hard I fought, nothing quite reached the level I wanted to aim for. Anything materialistic seemed lacking somehow. Thankfully, my sister came to my rescue. We were talking only a few days after her engagement, and she told me about how they are planning to buy a new house as soon as they get married, and they're already looking for property. That gave me the idea that maybe I could look into houses, and according to what kind of house they are going for, I might add a gift that would be of perfect use. So for the next few months, I kept checking in on her hunt for the new house. And when she finally told me the one they have their eyes set on, it was underwhelming. The problem was the property they were looking at. It was quite old, and they were thinking of renovating the whole thing to suit their lifestyle. So I decided to chip in money instead of giving them a materialistic gift. And because it was supposed to be a wedding gift, I decided to make the announcement on the wedding day during my toast. If only I had known how horrible that idea was, I would have never gone on with it. So the wedding day finally came and everything was great. My sister actually managed to plan a perfect wedding. From the venue to the ambience, food and the lighting, and even their dresses were all adding on to the aesthetics. I was really happy for her and couldn't wait to tell her about my gift. Although it was the most anticipated moment, the whole thing went in a blur. Before we knew it, the vows were over and my sister was officially a married woman. Finally, it was time for the toast, and just as I had practiced, I gave my sappy, embarrassing speech. I talked about how much I hated her for being obsessed with this day and how glad I am that it's finally over so she could throw away her damn folder. In the end, I told her that she wouldn't be able to find a gift from me in the gift pile because I'm going to give her $50,000 to help out in the renovations of their dream house. My sister and her husband's shocked faces were too funny, and it was hard to hold in my laugh. Everyone was talking about this sudden announcement. But what caught my eye the most were my parents, who were walking up to the stage. For a second, I thought that they were going to hug me or announce something of their own, so I patiently waited for them to make their way over to me. But when they reached the stage, my dad said on the mic that because I'm being so generous today, I should be a good son and offer them money too. At first, I thought it was a joke, so I laughed, but my dad said, "What's funny about his words? And why am I not announcing another gift for them?" And it hit me then that they were completely serious about that. So I told them, of course, I can't promise them money out of the blue for no reason. Then my mom said if that's the case, I should give my sisters something normal, under $2,000, and give them the rest, as they were the ones who spent a fortune on me, so I could go to a decent college and have a career. I was flabbergasted at their rude behavior. How can they say that? But that wasn't the worst part. When I denied them again, all the guests on our side of the family started talking shit about me. I heard some of them saying I'm a disgrace and I have no respect for the people who took care of me all my life. I tried to get the situation under control by bringing the attention to the bride and groom, but my parents were so mad at this point that they said they wouldn't stand there just to be insulted and left the building. A few of my dad's family followed him out too. My mom stared daggers at me and left with them. The few guests who were left were either on the groom's side or some of our relatives on my mom's side. What just happened was so absurd that my brain couldn't process it, and when I looked over at my sister, she was in tears. I saw her run out of the hall towards the private rooms, and my brother in law followed her. Everyone left was staring at me with side eyes and talking amongst themselves. Soon after that, I tried to talk to my sister, but my brother in law said I should go for now. So I left and came back home. I still can't believe the absurdity of the situation, how my parents reacted, and above all, the wedding was completely ruined and my sister was heartbroken. I cannot stop blaming myself for it all, even though I know what happened wasn't really my fault. Am I really an a-hole who should have seen this coming, or was their reaction just overly ridiculous? So I went to my parents' house today. It's been over 2 weeks since the wedding, and I needed an explanation for their incredibly rude behavior. I've never known them to be so hungry that they behave like beggars. As far as I knew, my dad's job pays well enough to keep them comfortable, and I am the one who pays all the loans that are under his name. So he shouldn't really be talking so absurdly. In fact, I was hoping that they'd realize sooner or later how impolite their actions were and would apologize to both me and my sister. But I definitely haven't received any apology. And last I talked to my sister, she had everyone blocked from her contact list. When I reached my parents' house, they looked like they were about to go out, and I belatedly thought I should have called first. But instead of going back, I asked them if they had a moment to talk. I didn't waste any time in chit chat and went straight to the point. I asked them why they publicly asked me for money and put me on the spot like that for the wedding, and if they are financially in deep waters. But my dad said it has nothing to do with their financial condition and everything to do with my attitude. He said that I'm a fool to give away my money to another man that I don't even know that well. Their reasons were somehow unreasonable to me. I told them my brother in law is not a stranger, and the money was for my sister. It was a wedding gift that she completely deserves, and even if she didn't, it wasn't my parents' place to tell me what I do with the money I earn. At this, my dad got more mad and said that I should be helping them move to a better house, as they've helped me out all my life instead of throwing it all away on my sister, who already earns a fortune. This threw me off the edge, and I lost all my mannerism. I told my dad that as the people who gave birth to me, it was their duty to take care of me, and I am doing my part in taking care of them by paying off all the debts under their name. But if this isn't satisfactory enough, they should have asked me privately for money or for contributing to a house instead of ruining their daughter's wedding. I kept on berating them for about 20 minutes, and by the end of it, I was so worked up that I just got up and left the house. I have never known my parents to be jackasses, but right now, I feel like I'm talking about two complete strangers. My sister finally came home after 3 weeks, and I went to meet her today. I wanted to apologize for what happened in the wedding fiasco and talk it out with her, but it seemed like a conversation that needed to be talked about in person, and I had to wait for her to come back home so I could go over. I did remember to call her before going over, and she was more than happy to see me. As soon as I got there, she hugged me and called out my brother-in-law to come downstairs. We were all sitting in the living room, and I got straight to the point once again. I told her how sorry I am for causing a scene at her wedding and that I cannot apologize enough to make it any better. If I could take it all back, I would, but unfortunately, that wasn't possible. At this, both my brother-in-law and my sister said I shouldn't feel guilty because it wasn't my fault at all. They said all I did was make a really sweet gesture, and if anything, it was our parents and relatives who were to be blamed for their behavior. The topic went on for a while, and when I was sure that she had forgiven me, I took out the check from my pocket for the $50,000 and gave it to her. I told her that even though this caused a disaster, I meant it when I said this is my gift and she should cash it in as soon as possible. Both of them were overjoyed, and my sister hugged me. We chilled for a bit after that, and I found out my parents have not yet apologized to my sister for what they did. I don't know what has gotten into them, but I hope they'll come to their senses soon. My parents called me today. It was an unexpected call, and I didn't really think they'll be able to realize what was wrong with their actions, but nonetheless, I received an apology from them today. My mom said that she has been thinking a lot about what I said on the day I went over to their house, and she also talked to my sister a few days ago. Now she has come to realize that I am not required to give them money just because I am their son, and their actions were entitled and rude. She also talked about how she had never realized before how my sister always favored me over her, and their complete disregard for her wedding cemented that belief of hers. And now all my mom can do is apologize to her and try to mend her relationship with both of her children. I don't think I have still completely forgiven them for what happened, but it's a start that they know what's actually wrong in this whole dynamic and are willing to work on that. I hope that we could talk about this whole thing more in the future and they'd never do something like this again. NTA, what the heck? You're definitely not the a hole here, and your parents are some high grade jackasses who need to be reminded of what's more important. NTA, no, you're not the a hole, and their reaction was totally ridiculous. How in the world those relatives agreed with them, though, is a mystery to me because anyone with a brain could have seen how unreasonable their demand was. My sister has 3 kids. She planned on 2, but has 3. They're all under 6, and she's not managed to get back to her career in the way that she planned to. It stresses her out, so I offered to take the kids for part of the weekend so she can do homework for a course she's doing to hopefully further her career without getting overly penalized for having a longer than anticipated break for kids. During the week, she attends while 2 kids are at nursery school and with one strapped to her. She and I are not Christians, though our cousin, who she gets childcare advice from, is. Since the kids were little, she has done things to get points towards having them attend local CE schools. Primary and secondary is the plan. She and her husband attend church on special days. She runs the database and online diary, as well as dealing with emails to book out the church hall, and he volunteers as a governor at the primary school. One of the activities the kids do is a church led child club for a couple of hours on Sunday morning. It's run by volunteers, usually moms of the kids, and they're always short of volunteers. Usually it's parents who drop the kids off, and to get extra Christian points for their kids, they will sometimes volunteer a bit towards this. Usually the Christian ones go and attend the service while their kids are at the club, and the less religious ones volunteer. I usually go home and clean my house for the week, which has been a bit destroyed by general living and then having 3 under 6-year-olds the previous day, before picking them up. Lately, I've been getting passive aggressive comments when I drop the kids off because I don't stay and volunteer to help with the activity club. My sister says that some of the moms at the school gate have been saying she won't get enough points because I don't volunteer, and she's stressed about this. I don't want to jeopardize my siblings' schooling, but I can't see that an aunt would be counted towards school points. I also really don't want to help out with the church activity group. For one thing, it's really loud. There's about 40 kids, and I'm not really a child person. For another, I'm not a Christian, and I'd feel uncomfortable doing some of the activities which are supposed to be about belief. Am I being an a-hole about this? NTA, it is up to your sister and her husband to volunteer in a church environment that they are a member of, not yours. It would be a shitty move if these people won't give enough points for the kids just because their aunt, who isn't even a member and who is willing to babysit the kids to help the mom and dad, to force you to go there and help. It is not your job. It is not your religion and it is not your problem. If your sister has problems with that, then she needs to go and fix it for herself. You are helping her, and that is really nice. But now she is just letting others bully her and indirectly you to go and do something you did not sign up for. Good luck. NTA. If your sister is concerned about points, then she should volunteer as you are the aunt, not the parent, and you aren't even Christian either, as your sister. She does realize that in a lot of cases, to go to Christian schools, a child has to be baptized, and she would have to go to the church associated with the school every Sunday. Tell her that you are more than happy to take the kids on Saturday, but Sunday is all her. She still gets her day to do her homework, etc., but that way she can volunteer at the playgroup. I personally don't think she wants to volunteer and is hoping that you will in her place, which is unfair to place on you. They aren't your kids and you aren't Christian. If she doesn't like that change, then tell her that you are no longer able to take them on the weekend. I, 20, female, am on the spectrum. I have a hard time with navigating social situations. I won't lie, so admittedly, sometimes I get it wrong and then worry about messing up again for years to come. I live at home, I'm in college online, and I work at the library. My older sister, Anna, 26, female, has a degree and a corporate job. I'm really proud of her. I look up to my sister and I think she's one of the coolest people I know. She brought her boyfriend Mike home so he could officially meet and have dinner with us. She talked to me about it in length beforehand and asked that I try to keep to myself as much as possible during dinner so that I didn't weird him out or scare him off. She said that I should only try to make normal small talk if he asked me something. I promised her that I wouldn't mess up because she really likes him and I want her to be happy. Dinner rolls around and everything's going well. I think Mike is nice. He mostly spoke to my parents through the night. But then he started asking me things too. Eventually, we started talking about our interests, and I told him how much I liked plants and pressing flowers. I thought it was a good conversation because he seemed interested in what I was saying, and he kept asking me more questions about it. He even suggested we go to the botanical garden as a group soon. The next day, Anna came over again to talk to me. She told me that I did the exact opposite of what she wanted me to do at dinner. She said I rambled too much and gave useless information on plants during a dinner that was supposed to be about her boyfriend meeting the family. She told me what I did was weird and embarrassing and that I'm lucky that Mike is too nice to have mentioned it. I apologized to her and asked if I could apologize to Mike too, but she didn't think that was a good idea. After she left, our dad asked what we talked about, and I told him. He seemed upset, and he told me that I didn't do anything wrong and that Anna was being ridiculous. My mom chimed in to say that my sister has a right to feel how she does, and that if Anna thinks I did her wrong, then I did. I'm kind of confused now, honestly, so I wanted to know if I was the AH or not. NTA, you didn't mess up at all, OP. I'm sorry your sister and your mom are making you think you did. If he was asking questions and engaging in the conversation, that means he was interested, especially since he even suggested going to the botanical gardens. I think your sister didn't want you apologizing to Mike because she knows that he'd likely tell you there was nothing to apologize for. Your dad is right. You are NTA and your sister is being ridiculous. You had a completely appropriate conversation at dinner with someone who was interested in hearing what you have to say. The fact that she told you not to be yourself because it is too weird and might scare him off told me everything I needed to know about your sister. Being on the spectrum doesn't make you weird, and you didn't do anything wrong, regardless of how your sister feels about the plant conversation. I think what your mother means is that your sister's feelings are valid too, and they are. But where she got it wrong is telling you that if Anna thinks you did her wrong, then you did. That is just false. People feel wronged all the time unjustifiably. I'll say it one more time. You did nothing wrong. NTA,